Representatives of JRM are present to discuss trash and recycling collection in the city.
Councilor Matheson, you're the sponsor of this paper. Yes, and with the JRM representative, please approach the podium. Thank you. And Councilor Matheson, let you start off.
Thank you, Madam President, and thank you, sir, for coming to appear before us today.
Thank you for having me.
So, the reason I called you here, and we've given you an indication of why you're here, I'm just going to state this for the public. I've received a number of inquiries and some complaints from my residents over the past several months, and in fact some years, where they've been called upon to take the extra task separating their recyclables, and although it doesn't sound like a big chore, it's a lot of people over a lot of time that have separated their paper from their plastic and metal and glass. And what they observe is that the trash collectors then commingle it in the truck, and they're wondering why they are wasting their labor and whether or not it's necessary. I would like at some point to know if we can segue into not separating our recyclables, because this is, again, a labor that all of our residents are called upon to do.
No, absolutely.
Sir, could you state your name and
Sure.
address, please, for the record? Thank you.
My name is Tom Flanagan. I'm the sales manager and marketing manager for JRM Hauling and Recycling. I reside in Enfield, Mass. North Reading, I'm sorry. It's a common question what you're saying as far as single stream and dual stream. The city of Malden is contracted right now for dual stream recycling, which means that paper is put in a separate container and everything else is mixed together. So there's two streams of material. We find in Malden in some cases that a lot of times it's being mixed, and we're taking all the material together and putting it in the commingled areas. It's not what we want to do. We want to do what we're supposed to do with the dual stream. We are working with different representatives of the city to maybe merge it to a single stream program.
What is it going to take for us to merge, if I may, Madam Clerk, since I have the floor? I only have a couple questions.
Well, I can give you an idea. What dual stream and single stream is the big difference is the paper. The paper is separated. That's a lot of money that is collected by JRM. It's the value of the material. When it's mixed together, there's really not a value to the material. So there's a cost difference at the end of the day when you're bringing the material all mixed together. It's less revenue for the hauler, and less revenue for the city. So what happens is we have to be compensated for the material at the end of the day when it's all mixed together. It's basically a difference of getting money for the material, $30, $40 a ton, in opposed to paying $35 to $40 a ton to dispose of it.
So when you ultimately take our recyclables to wherever they go, JRM gets some compensation for the value of those recyclables.
Yes.
And those recyclables are worth less if they're commingled than if they're separated. Is that what I understand to be correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And according to our contract, we are called upon to separate, and you'd like us to continue to separate because JRM will eventually gain more money at the end of the day by turning in separated materials.
Right now, the recycling market is down. It's at historic lows right now. It's probably hasn't seen these low numbers for 20 or 30 years. It's not something we would not, I mean, JRM would love to do anything the city wants, but we need to pass along some of the costs.
Well, why then, if I, for example, separate, because I do every time,
Yeah.
why, if I'm separating my paper from my plastic and other materials, are the collectors of the recyclables putting them into the commingled bin? Why aren't they taking my paper and putting it in a paper bin?
We are working with the city now to keep the streets clear. What we should be doing is we should be stickering the material saying that it's not acceptable and leaving it on the curb. And we have an agreement that we're just going to take everything until we get a resolution to where we're going with the program. There were times where we were leaving the material because it was, they call it contaminated because it's mixed. It's a bad word because it means you might think that it's got something wrong with it, but it's just mixed and it's not supposed to be part of the acceptable materials.
But you're still receiving some compensation for the commingled materials, I presume?
Not now. The commingled materials is costing us right now.
And if our residents commingle, you'll be picking it up as you have been?
Yeah, we're still doing that. We're trying to make sure that, I mean, we'd like to educate, if the city stays with dual stream recycling, we'd like to have an education program to try to get out to the residents. Part of that is giving them a sticker program where if they're not placing the material the correct way, we put a sticker and we tell them that it's unacceptable and we can, guide them into the right direction.
Our contract with JRM is coming up for renewal in some years.
Yes.
I imagine that those renewal terms will call for separated recyclable materials. Would JRM still renew the contract if it were
Oh, no,
commingled?
we can do either way. I mean, we can price it out to separate the materials, or we can price it out for single stream material.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Matheson. Councilor, I'm not sure if it's Councilor DeMaria.
Thank you, Madam President. Thank you, Mr. Flanagan, for coming tonight. I believe you're in the 6th year of a 20-year contract, is that right? Are we in the 6th year or is it more?
I'd have to take a look at that. I'm not sure the exact.
Okay, because, and it was a signed 20-year contract, so you have our commitment to the 20 years, is that right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And you have a beautiful new plant on Route 1.
Yes.
I go by it, and it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you.
I personally would like to move forward, and I know you're speaking with our mayor and the people on the 6th floor regarding a single stream process.
Mhm.
And I think that's what a community of our size really needs to move forward with. So, point of interest, that's what I would like to see. I think to try to explain to the residents, this doesn't go here and this is why, I just think that we need to move forward with something more productive, more beneficial for our residents.
We do recommend it,
Uh-huh.
the single stream, and we're prepared to educate,
Beautiful.
to work with the city to educate the residents, we put flyers out. We have some educational posters to put up in the schools.
Great, so what's the timeline? Should we move forward with that?
We could do it as early as the beginning of the summer.
Wonderful. And other communities in our area, neighboring communities, are they in the single stream?
We service Melrose. Melrose converted to single stream
Mhm.
last year.
Mm-hmm.
Different communities in this area that are single stream that we service. Arlington is a single stream
Okay.
community. Ipswich is a single stream community.
So that's hopeful and a
And
possibility.
there are a lot of communities that are looking to convert to that eventually.
Yes, yeah. Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Kinnon?
Yes, thank you, Madam President, and thank you, Mr. Flanagan, for coming in this evening. Just on that single stream, community this size, which community are you doing single stream that's this size?
Probably the largest size community is Arlington.
Okay. And on a, do you charge more on the single stream? You must charge more.
Well, we actually discount the collection if it's dual stream because we're getting that revenue.
Yeah.
And if it's single stream, there's no revenue to get, so we can't discount the collection. So the true cost of the collection go into effect.
So you charge more?
Yeah.
You can call it discount, whatever it is. On a per ton basis, what is that typically?
Well, I mean, I'll give you an idea of let's take if there's 5,000 tons a year of recycling materials collected and 1,500 of them are paper. If we're getting $50 a ton for paper and we're getting zero or we're paying for the other 3,500 tons, all of a sudden that revenue from the paper goes away and it goes into the column that we have to pay for. So that's really the only difference. The calculations could be off, but it depends on how much material you generate. I don't have the exact numbers tonight.
Okay. But a city this size, what would we be expecting to see as I'm not going to hold you to this, but is it $10,000? Is it $100,000? Is it 500,000?
Probably closer to the 100,000,
More a year.
yes.
And if we were doing a better job, we'd have more savings. If we were doing a better job than we are today.
With dual stream?
Yes.
recycling? Well, we'd like to, if you're gonna stay with dual stream recycling, we'd like the city to do a better job, and we'd like to help you with education and making sure that the material is placed out and curved correctly.
Yeah. There's 2 buttons on, I think that is,
I know there isn't.
No.
It's just, it's the podium and you, and that's
Okay.
it, but we can't, we're trying to adjust the,
okay, because I had heard that it wasn't gonna cost us any more, but it's clearly gonna cost us more.
Yeah, and the difficult thing now is the market is so far down that, you know, last year, if we were talking at this time, we'd be talking about a difference of, not as much, but the material now is costing us $35 to $45 a ton.
Yeah. And is there a draft contract here in the city now?
I think we do have a proposal to the city
Okay,
with that information on it.
all right. I just was hoping we could get that draft contract to review it before it was signed, because it's a multi-million-dollar contract. As chairman of finance, that would be great, thank you.
We are experiencing, as everyone can tell, a little bit of feedback. It seems to be a lot worse this week than it was last week. And that's just with the podium and a counselor up here speaking. What we do think it might be is the closeness of that podium to these mics. So we're going to actually, if you wouldn't mind moving it back a little, that would be great. Then we'll see if that works, because it's quite disruptive. So thank you very much, Mr. Flanagan. Okay, having said that, we will go to Councilor Ian.
Thank you, Madam President. Mr. Flanagan, I'm hearing something that's confusing to me. Maybe I'm not hearing it properly. The sponsor for having you here, the councilor from Ward 3, started out by saying that his concern that he's hearing from residents, as I am as well, is that they are going through the process of separating the streams, and after they go through that process of separating the streams, your collection people are putting them into a single stream. Then I hear you saying that when you go to deliver that waste, you're not able to get as much money for that waste because it's in single stream as opposed to double stream. And the third thing I think I heard you say is that you were trying to work with the city because people were not properly separated. Did I follow all of that correctly?
That's correct.
So if we've got a significant amount of money that we're losing as a result of it all going into a single stream, seems to me the effort should be for us to make sure that our residents, you continue with the double stream, and that your collectors continue with the double stream, as opposed to losing the money that is going. So am I missing, help me out here. There's a disconnect, and I need you to help me put that connection back.
Let me be more clear on, the way we collect the recyclings is in dual split body packer trucks. So a truck will come up and half the truck would be recycling. Well, half the truck is paper and half the truck is commingled. That's what dual stream recycling is. So the whole city's not doing a bad job with recycling. The truck's going along, picking up paper, putting it in the correct compartment, and the commingled in the correct compartment.
I guess what I'm seeing, I don't see trucks coming up my street that have 2 segregated compartments to it. You've seen some of those, but not all of your trucks are like that. Is that what you're?
Well, most of them, for dual stream, that's what we provide, that type of equipment. So when they come up to a house that has not separated correctly,
Separated.
they're taking all the material and putting it into the commingled compartment, where they should be just putting a sticker on it saying that the paper has not been separated, and next week we'll come by if you can properly separate it. So that's all I'm saying, is as far as, we're cleaning up the streets, making sure we're not leaving anything behind. But we can do a better job educating if the city decides to stay with dual screen.
Yeah, so we're talking about some serious dollars here in the educational process. That certainly seems to me to be worth all of our whiles. I mean, you guys want to be able to get a return on the recycled product much as you can, and we certainly don't want to have to be paying anything extra. Or said differently, we don't want to be having to pay you guys more when we can cut down. So it seems to me that's where the focus of this effort should be. And I would just throw that back out on the table for more discussion. Thank you.
Councilor Condon.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I think a big part of this is educating the public. We heard a lot about last night how these small bins blow away the recycling. So we mentioned that, and it seemed as though a lot of people didn't realize that they could use their own barrels. And we have bumper stickers at the city yards that say commingled and recyclable. Now, to me, that recyclable is all the paper and cardboard. Okay, now the commingled stuff that you want separated can be put in another barrel with the bumper sticker on it if you don't want it to blow away, because those are 18-gallon bins, to be quite honest with you, are antiquated. Unless people pack them right, they will blow away, unless you use the barrels you have in your backyard. And I even put out a barrel without a bumper sticker on it, and they could see it was all commingled, and they took it, you know, without a problem. When you say commingled, what are we talking about here? Glass, plastic, metal, cans? So in other words, if you have a case of soda, you cannot put those cans back in the paper container they came in. You keep the cans separate, and you put the paper with the paper, and then you recycle left, right. What about styrofoam? I know like Dunkin' Donuts has a little thing that's recyclable, but
Styrofoam's recyclable in large quantities, but it's not preferred in the mix of the curbside collection.
if people are putting styrofoam in the commingled, they shouldn't be?
Correct.
Where's it going, the regular trash?
Where's it? Well, it doesn't go through our system, the sorting system. So most of the time it ends up as trash.
So you'd have to put it in the bag?
Yeah.
Any kind of coffee cup?
Coffee cups are really not recyclable either.
I'm talking about a styrofoam coffee cup.
So those are not recyclable.
Okay, they're not recyclable. So that's gonna take us educating the public to do it. Personally, I don't wanna pay you $100,000 to go single stream. I'd much rather have people recycle, just keep their paper separate, and whatever else should be recycled can go into that commingled barrel. You know, that's the way I feel about it. It'll take some education, but I think, you know, we can get the word out there that, hey, there's bumper stickers down there. If you have barrels in your backyard, you can use it, and they'll give you the bumper stickers for nothing down the city yards. Thank you.
We have a number of lights on here, but just so you know, in order to keep the feedback down, I'm trying to just keep one mic on at a time. So if everyone just takes a little bit of a pause before they answer so I can flip it to the podium versus back to you, that would be helpful so that the audience at home can hear all of the questions. As I said, we have a lot of lights on. After Councilor Condon, we have Councilor Spatafora.
Thank you, Madam President. I don't know if this question is for you, sir, or actually, I see our DPW director in the audience. When you say that it seems to be an epidemic with people not sorting properly, can you give me an idea of percentage of the public that's not properly sorting the material? Is it 10% a week? I know it varies, but if you had to get, is it a big problem? Is it a little problem? Because I think hearing all the councils, I certainly don't want to pay any more money to do single stream. If it's a few residents, for us to take $100,000, whatever that number is, it's got to be passed on in some form or fashion to the residents. And to me, it's a behavior issue. If they're not properly sorting their recycling, yes, I agree in education, but we're in the 6th year of this program. I've been separating the paper and the plastic the whole time, but is it a big majority of the public still not knowing how to separate the paper and the plastic?
I don't have an exact percentage for you. I mean, just so you know, JR's prepared to, either way you go, it's single stream or dual stream, we're prepared to assist with education and make sure that the program works.
So maybe, Mr. Knox, do you have an idea? You have to come to Mike. Please. I don't mean to put you on the spot. But is it a big, like, I've never heard this before. Is it a big problem?
I would have to estimate it's probably 25–30% people that are not recycling properly out there, mixing the materials. That's an estimate. If you go down the street, I'm saying 25%.
So the policy now is JRM's gonna pick it up, right? Why wouldn't we not pick it up? Now, I know it would go in the street, but if I'm a resident and I don't know that I'm doing something wrong because my trash is getting picked up every week, I'm not gonna change my behavior. So I think a little bit of that should be on us, but the same token, that's a big number to overcome, so.
I mean, I'm asking, obviously, I haven't counted, but there was a lot of, it's a good number of people that don't properly recycle out there. And the reason why JRM's taking it is, as Tom said, we are a dual stream community, which means we're supposed to separate. I think there's a lot of confusion with people on what co-mingled actually is. People think co-mingled means throw everything in together, which isn't actually the fact. It's plastics, cans, bottles that go in one, the paper cardboard go in the other. And as Councilman Anderson says, most of the trucks go down the street, all the recycling trucks have 2 compartments, one for paper cardboard, one for co-mingled. But people, don't understand really what that means. So they mix it together. JRM has their new plant, Greenworks, up on Route 1, they're taking it, instead of leaving it on the street and having it be a mess, as we all know, on a day like today with the wind and the small bins that we got, which I feel is the biggest problem with the program, is containing the recycling material. They take the materials up there because it's actually going up to the new plant and getting separated anyways. They don't have to do that because it's not in the contract, like I said, we're dual stream, but they're taking it and separating it for us at the curb. To try to, right now, right.
At one point, say we're gonna be charged, and rightly so.
Going into year 6 of the contract, coming up, and if we made a change or modifications of the contract, we'd have to rewrite some sort of contract to change it from a dual stream community to a single stream community. What the cost is on that, I don't know, but there would have to be a change to the contract.
So Director Knox, are we going to, I mean, from where I sit, I think we should at least try to educate the residents who are not properly recycling before we just charge $100,000 or whatever the number is. So can we test it to say, we're not gonna pick it up, we leave a note, the JR can leave a note, and then we can educate the consumer? Because right now, I would think, if I'm putting it out and I'm doing it wrong, if it's going away every week, I have no idea I'm doing it wrong. If you don't pick it up for once or twice, and I finally read the note, you're gonna figure out, hey, I'm doing something wrong, I'm gonna do it. Because at one point, our choice is gonna be, either we pay JRM more money to do it single stream, or they're just gonna charge more money because they're gonna separate it for us.
Well, a lot of the times too, we're talking about some cases, but we have a solid waste inspector that goes out there every day on the trash route. If it's something that's severely mixed, he does have a sticker that he leaves, but again, you're not gonna get everybody to comply with it. People don't understand what recycling is, and that commingled is actually, in my opinion, a bad word for our recycling because it's very confusing to people.
All right, that's all I have, Madam President, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Spatafora. Councilor O'Malley.
Thank you, Madam President. I just had a question. I like processes, and so I just had a few questions about your process. Where is Malden's recycling brought?
Malden's recycling is brought to Greenworks on Route 1 in Peabody.
The new facility.
Yes.
So I've also seen the facility, it is beautiful, and I just have a few questions about your new facility. Does it have any like additional technology in terms of commingling or separating? What's your sales pitch for your new facility?
Well, it is state-of-the-art. We service 16 communities now, and 9 of them are dual screen, and the rest are single screen. The single screen material gets dropped in the sort separator, the big bin in the front, and everything goes in. The dual screen, the trucks pull around and they bale the paper, and then they drop the commingled into that mix. So the process is a little different for collection and delivery of the dual screen and single screen material.
Thank you. So I'm assuming that for JRM, it's easier for your people to just pick it up all together and drop it into that sorter that you described.
Yeah, it does make it easier. I mean, there's not a value to the material, but if it all goes in there, the collection is a lot easier.
So then my only question is, and it just, because it seems as though people are putting in their recycling all mixed together and that you're picking it up all together, I think that the next step would seem to be is that they are already putting it into that single stream type system. So I'm just wondering for the city, it's already being done. Why would it cost $100,000 to do it? It seems to be being done.
It's not supposed to be right now. It's not supposed to be being done. It's supposed to be separated at the curb.
Understood.
The 2 different streams.
Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilman Matheson, the second time.
Thank you, Chair. And the last time. And Councilor O'Malley touched on something that I was going to get into, which was Greenworks. So the communities that do separate, do you bring them to Greenworks as well?
Yes.
And Greenworks separates all these materials regardless of whether they're commingled or not. Isn't that right?
That's correct. All of the dual screen material that's commingled is brought to the facility and it's sorted and separated.
Okay.
The second part of that truck that's split has all paper in it.
Yeah.
That goes directly into the facility, the bin that bales it. Doesn't have to go through the system.
So it doesn't have to go through the machine that takes stuff and moves it aside. But you own the machine?
We own the machine, yes.
Okay. That doesn't seem like it's costing you something exorbitant.
It costs about $50 a ton to run the material.
Okay. Because I'll tell you what I'd like. I'd like to renew the contract, be able to commingle and not pay anything more. You said that you had 9 dual stream communities, and how many? 7 of the others?
That's yes.
7, yeah, single stream, commingled, same thing, right? Can you name the largest few of the 7? Because I'm going to pull their city contracts and see what they're paying you.
Sure. I mean, a sizable city is probably Arlington.
Arlington, single stream. Well, who else you got?
For single screen, Ipswich. I don't know offhand the others. There are a couple communities that we service as a single stream that we collect as dual stream. Because the people still are separating the material.
That's nice. Yeah. All right, Arlington and Ipswich. How many of your contracts are for, we have a 10 and 10. We have a 20-year contract, but it's a renewal period after 10.
Yeah.
Is that typical? That seems long to me.
Most communities that we service are taking a good look at 10-year contracts now.
Yeah, but what would you say the average is, 5? I see a lot of 5-year contracts out there.
We typically don't see any more 3 years, mostly 5-year options. Some of them are 10 years with an additional 5-year option.
All right, and back to styrofoam, because I did have someone ask me about styrofoam, and I think I heard Councilor Condon wisely bring up styrofoam as well. You guys aren't taking that, even if it is a massive amount of styrofoam, right?
Right, no, when I say recyclable in large amounts, I'm talking
Yeah, industrial.
large bales of it.
Because I see the recycle symbol imprinted on the styrofoam, but yet, you know,
Yeah.
we're all being told not to recycle it, so it seems a kind of a waste. All right, well, I've been educated. I hope some folks back home have, and I think we all learned something here. And I appreciate that you came out. Mr. Flanagan, is it?
Yes,
Okay, I think last time we spoke with Mr. Gramash.
yes.
Yeah. All right, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it, and that's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Flanagan. And from the chair, I actually do have a couple of questions. You've mentioned a couple of times the $50 a ton additional fee for single stream versus dual stream recycling, is that correct?
Yes, that's an average of what the cost for the process of going through the sorting system.
Okay, so that would be, if a contract was renewed, that would be built into the price?
Yes.
Obviously, because JRM's not going to eat that.
Yes.
So what is, could you tell me, what does that $50 represent in percentage to the overall cost per ton? Is it 5%, is it 10%, 20%? Just trying to get an idea of the type of increase we might expect on our contract should we decide to go single stream.
I honestly don't know how to calculate that out per ton.
Well, there must be a cost per ton for disposal.
The cost per ton on a single stream mix of material with paper in it, because you gotta remember the paper is the material that's valuable.
Mm-hmm.
So if you just sort commingled material without paper, it's not as much value, it costs more. Glass, there's really no value to glass. Glass is a cost to us of about $40 or $50 a ton.
Correct, but when you create when you enter, I would assume, just assuming at this point, when you enter into a contract with the community,
Yeah.
there has to be some gauge per ton tipping fee that the city is contractually obligated to pay you, correct?
Not in this case. We didn't put a charge on the material.
Okay.
So we're not charging more than for any material.
So you're not charging more than?
We're just not rebating you on the paper if it's mixed with the other materials.
I think Mr.
So I know that's hard to
Answer this.
understand.
Look, it could be how many tons we recycle. What I'm trying to get an idea of is if you're negotiating, and you're the sales manager?
Yes.
You're the person who enters into contracts with
In
the
most of-
communities?
Yes.
So, put in perspective for me in percentage wise, because the $50 a ton does not mean anything to me, okay? On a normal basis, if the community changes from dual stream to single stream, what's the average increase in the cost of the contract? Is it 5%, is it 10%?
Well, I think what we did with the city, and my memories, I want to make sure I got this right, but the material, the revenue we were getting for the paper, if we sorted it, we took that away from the contract, and we didn't charge you anything for the commingled. So basically, if we were getting paid for paper, if we were getting so many tons of paper per year that we were bringing in, that we were getting revenue for, that we weren't getting now, we added that cost onto it.
Are you currently discussing contract renewal with anyone in the city at this point in time?
But we have a proposal
You have a proposal
for singles.
for 4 years from now? Or to change it midstream?
Whenever the city wants to make any changes.
Okay, so you have a proposal.
We've made it very clear that we want to do whatever the city wants.
Okay, so the
Whichever
city has a proposal?
Yes.
Oh, you've given it to the city? Okay, and that Chair of Finance, I think is exactly. Counselor, I'm going to give Counselor McKinnon the floor for a moment.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Could you, thank you, Madam President. My point here is that perhaps, consider this, that perhaps if the council was involved previously, perhaps we wouldn't have a 20-year deal. And before another deal is signed, I would hope that the council was involved, at least from being able to read it before such a document was signed, particularly if it was going to launch us into something that was going to cost us $100,000 or something something like that when we're dialing for dollars. You know, people have adapted to the current system, at least a number of people. Even if 30% or 35% of the people aren't following it, 65% of the people are. Why would we, in the financial situation, again, that we find ourselves, any place that we can save money without having to cut heads or not do some of the things people like to do, you know, that, I'll give you for instance, that's half the budget of the teen center, $100,000. I don't think it's something that we can just easily walk away, and I think the council needs to be involved in such a discussion. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor O'Malley. Councilor Kinnon. Yes, I obviously don't know if you've heard some of the earlier conversations, but the city is facing a significant budget deficit that we're all struggling with right now. So anything that increases our costs is of specific concern to this council, who will be trying to wrestle with the 2017 appropriations. So do appreciate your answering all our questions, being here tonight, and you know, we certainly would look forward to seeing a copy of this proposal from, I would assume the mayor's office has it. Technical, make a motion at some point that the copy of that proposal comes down to the Finance Committee. Thank you very much, Mr. Flanagan. Do you have anything you'd like to say before you leave?
No, thank you very much for having me here, and like I said, you know, either way the city wants to go with dual screen or single screen, we're here to help and work with the education for the residents.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.